Ladies and gentlemen, we have been working all day, and now it's after work. I'm Joe. Welcome back to another episode of Nintendo Spotlight, where we go through the eShop every Thursday, and we pick out a few games that are available. We play them. We talk a little bit about the dev, the history of sometimes the history of their stuff, and, what they've worked on in the past, and also learn a little bit more about the story to the game, play it, understand the gameplay, and ultimately decide whether or not it is worth the asking price. And today, we are going to play a game that some people are upset about the pricing of for the Nintendo Switch version, which I didn't realize was that big of a problem, is Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack, which you can also get on the 3DS already. This is being ported over to the Nintendo Switch, which I'm really excited about. This is one of my favorite games, one of my favorite series on the Nintendo 3DS. So the fact that this actually got a port over to the Nintendo Switch, I had to show the support. This is by IntiCreates. They've done a lot. I've said in the past everything that they have done. They're probably, you might have played some of their Mega Man Zero games from the GBA DS days. They worked with Concept on Mighty Number 9 as well for the console versions. But this is one of their IPs, Gunvolt. Fun platformer. The game, very much a mix of fast action, building up combos, speed running, and just all around platform fun. So let's get into this, guys. We're gonna go through a stage from Azure Striker Gunvolt, and then we're gonna go through a stage in Azure Striker Gunvolt 2, so that way you can kind of see the differences between the two games and how much it has evolved. Gunvolt came out in 2014, Gunvolt 2 came out last year. I actually have a full playthrough minus the secret ending on the YouTube channel, so if you want to go check it out, it is up there. If you scroll over to the 3DS handheld section at the bottom of my page, youtube.com/JoAfterWork, you can check that out there. But I think at some point I want to do a full playthrough of the Switch versions, and here we go. I'm going to skip around the dialogue a bit. We'll talk about the story, and, you know, who Gunvolt is, what he does, and I'll explain a little bit, bits and pieces here. But I really want people to experience the game for themselves. This guy, Gunvolt, pretty much set himself up to get trapped inside a Sumeragi building here. And so he's here, they're sort of explaining what they're doing. He's part of a group called Quill. That guy in the white hair is called Asimov, and he's the leader of Quill. They're an anti-resistance group. More so anti-Sumeragi. Sumeragi is a company that they have this idol called the Muse. Her name is oh gosh, Lumen. It's like a pop idol that has like the latest song that's gonna, you know, get everybody hooked and everything. But on top of that, here we go. So, some of the unique things about Gunvolt is his main power is lightning. So he's going to be able to control all that stuff that doesn't have power. There we go. And so right now, Gunvolt's mission is to destroy the Muse, which Sumeragi has bigger plans, which is what Quill is trying to stop from happening, because Gunvolt and some of the other members of Quill, I don't think the people that we're talking to, but just in general around the world too, have some abilities. They're called adepts. They're sort of, I guess you could say they're like mutants, because they're sort of shunned away by the world. A while back there was a problem with the city, and adepts were running amok, getting these powers, and that's where Sumeragi stepped in and sort of that was their claim to fame, was they were getting rid of these adepts. Lo and behold, they were doing crazy experiments with a lot of these adepts as well. So you can kind of get an X-Men vibe there, and the reason my bar went all the way down like that was because I got hit 3 times. There's 3 bars underneath there. As you get, each time you get hit, you lose your chance of completing your combo, so that affects your overall score, which you can get high scores in the game. That's another big part of this game. So time, time, combos, and not getting hurt are all factored into your total grade and score for each level as well. And what I really like about this game is, like, you have the dialogue going on as you're playing the game of what's going on. Sometimes it can be a little distracting if you're not expecting it, but there we go. But it's not that bad. We got a little boss here, which, ma'am, I'm pressing down twice to recharge. Beautiful. My EP. And that this electricity here, that ball of electricity is ooh, I should have done that. Dang, that would have saved my score. Ooh. But yeah, this ball of energy here that I'm creating is called Flash Field. Now, question, because I wanted to see, yeah, I do get hurt, don't I? Or do I not? No, it does. Okay, so yeah, that pre-evasion there, I'll show you guys real quick. If I'm not using my Flash Shield, like, I'll do it with the next guy. What's cool about Gunvolt is, if I'm not using Flash Field, I can sort of phase through the enemies and not get hurt as long as I have meter. But once I get that, once I lose that meter, I can start to get hurt. That's where I end up being vulnerable. And there are actually enemies that can easily get rid of that. Or if I'm in water, I can't use it. I use my Flash Field or any of my powers because it'll affect me. Of course, doing that a bunch of times just now just made me lose all my health. So that's probably get a rip here soon. And I'll bust out the full screen in a moment here to show you guys how pretty the game looks outside of this little box that you guys sometimes see. I'm going to try to do that more often and give you guys... Oh, hello! Actually, I think I died right here last time because I jumped right into that beam. Woo! Got that full health back. Bam. There we go. Look at that. No, 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 Joe. No one worked today. It's Labor Day. Yo, Deadeye. Shh. Hey, some people work. There's retail stores. Boom. Alright. Again, just like that other boss. Bam. And we also had a power-up that I forgot to use. I could show it to you when we jump into Gunvolt 2. And I want to get your little secret medal right there. Another one of the collectibles that you can get in the game. Bam. There we go. So this is what I was talking about, the clear time. All that goes into how many stars you get, your bonus, and what your overall rank ends up being. So the medals are for this area right here, where at the end of every stage, depending on how many medals you have, is how many of these you can actually open up. And these all come into play, whether it's currency to buy items, or these chips that you can use, these pieces that you can use to actually create new weapons, new items for Gunvolt. If you listen... Oh, sorry, I'm gonna go back to here. If you watched my Mighty Gunvolt Burst playthrough, the whole customization aspect comes from this series right here, the Gunvolt series, the Azure Striker series. And you can actually combine them to create Gunvolt, to get him stronger, to do double jumps, to have a longer lasting EP for his flash field, to have a gun that can shoot in multiple directions, all that sort of stuff. You can create those items getting those ships, so it's very important to kind of go back to some of the stages, revisit them, try to get better scores so that to then get better chips and create them. But this part right here, so we finally made it to Gunvolt's at the area where Lumen is being kept. Lo and behold, Lumen is... There she is. That's the muse that everybody knows. But she's actually a septimal power, which is what the adepts produced, or the septimal. So the muse is actually tied to the adept that is the girl in there. And Asimov is saying, no, like, you're not going to take her, you're going to kill her right now. Because, you know, Asimov thinks it's a trap, but Gunvolt is like, Asimov was here for me in my time of need before I joined Quill. And he was in a similar situation, apparently. But Asimov is like, I can't run by that, but you're off the team, do what you will at this point. We'll provide support. And we find out her real name. The girl's name is Jewel. Which is why I was stuttering earlier, because I didn't want to... I always mix up between Jewel and Lumen. So. Boom. And then this is more or less explaining everything that I had just shown you guys in a slightly more detail, but I encourage everybody that has not played this game and wants to or is curious about playing this game, pick it up. It is worth it. It is $39.99 in the eShop for Switch. On the 3DS, you can buy them for 15 bucks a piece. So overall, when you do the math at the end of the day, if you have a 3DS, it is the same exact game that you are getting on the 3DS as you are getting on the Switch. So unless you want a nice bigger screen, smoother frame rates, then yes, pick up the Switch version. I love this game. I'm a sucker. Like with certain games, I will go ahead and that I really want to replay again and re-experience on a different console, I'll go ahead and buy again, and this is one of those games. Resident Evil is like another game that you guys know I've owned multiple versions of, multiple sequels of that game on different consoles. I'm just like, more than I care to admit. This is one of those cases. I have a very soft spot for IntiCreates. Another thing about Lumen is that Lumen sort of is the 180 of Jewel. Jewel is very shy and reserved, while Jewel is, Jewel is very shy and reserved, while Lumen is, much more outgoing and not afraid to express her emotions. That's where sort of like the split personality comes through between the two. And then, much like a Mega Man game, you have your bosses that you can select at any order. With this game, you don't have to really go in a particular order. You can choose whoever, as long as you end up completing the 6 at the end of the day. Then another section of bosses open up, and then you get some, and then the final boss, and then you get the EX stages afterwards, after you beat the game and everything. But yeah, that was Gunvolt, and you can actually just go in here and save your progress afterwards, which I already have my own file. I'm not going to create another one. But yes, you can go, you can talk to Jewel. When you select missions, you can get briefings on what the mission is from from Quill. So even though we left Quill and we've been on the run for 6 months with Jewel, Gunvolt's taking missions as like a for hire, a freelance, so that way you can still make money and survive. But with that, you go in here, you can go to the synth is where you're going to go and build out some other items, you know, for your eye, for your gun, your shield, and all that sort of stuff, and your accessories. So if you have the items, remember I was telling you, if you have certain medals at the end of the stage, a certain amount of medals will allow you to unlock a certain amount of items from those question mark boxes. This is where you then go to use all those items to create weapons and accessories and all that sort of stuff. And then you can sell some stuff if you don't have enough money to buy certain things, because it all comes down to credits and the items that you collect. So it's a give and take process. And that is pretty much Gunvolt in a nutshell. There are challenges, which is another thing that you might have been familiar with when we were checking out Mighty Gunvolt Burst, where if you go through and you complete certain missions, you get rewards for each challenge that you complete. Whew. And with that, let's jump into Azure Striker Gunvolt 2 so that way you guys can kind of see the difference between the two games. And one of my favorite songs gets played in Gunvolt 2 that I really, really love. So let's jump into it. This game also holds a very special place in my heart. And I'm just going to change the game title here. And we're going to keep this going as a single episode in our Nintendo Spotlight episode. Question. Hold up. I don't know if unlocked after clearing story mode or extra. Yep. That is awesome. Okay, so they did keep this feature in. I'm gonna get wrecked for a quick moment, but Shovel Knight amiibo works with this game. This is also a feature in the 3DS, and we'll do this real quick because we're gonna get wrecked right now. Shovel Knight is a beast, and we can choose either Copen or Gunvolt to battle Shovel Knight, which is just fun. That Yacht Club Games is mixed in with this. It's great. Like, oh, I'm here. They even have his sound. And they gave him a soundtrack. I forgot about that. Yo, we got wrecked by this guy. Yo. Yep, there we go. That's all I wanted to show you before we get into Gunvolt 2. Oh, man. Alright, here we go. Let's do this. So this takes place after the events of Azure Striker Gunvolt 1. Again, we're back in the Sumeragi building. I'm gonna skip through all this. Gunvolt is now on an airship. That's a Sumeragi airship, I believe. If I'm not, if I remember correctly. Yep, inside the Seraph, Sumeragi's massive airship. And much like the beginning of the game, they don't realize who he is or what he's done. And I'm not gonna spoil any of that. And why Lumen is with us? I'll put it that way. Boom. Alright, here we go. We're gonna skip all this. And I'm gonna jump it into full screen for a minute here so you guys can kind of see the action full screen. I can't remember if I did it with Gunvolt or not. I think I did it with that last battle. Here we go. Boom. So, already they throw terms at you that you're like, no pre-evasion with flash field. Pre-evasion I already explained in the first Gunvolt. Oh, sorry. That you can kind of phase through enemies and not get hurt as long as your EP meter is full, which your EP meter is that blue thing right there. Took a good chunk out. Ooh, hello. But yes, if you played Gunvolt and you want to jump into Gunvolt 2, this is probably... I would recommend, if you've played the first one already and you still have a 3DS, pick up Gunvolt 2 on the 3DS then. That way you save yourself a few bucks, but if you really want to play it on the bigger screen, then yeah, playing it on Switch is going to be worth it. Just for me, it already is. I'm like, okay, I got my money's worth. I'm good. But for those, you know, on more of a tighter budget and want to pick up the game, then I would say go with the 3DS version. It's the same exact version. And as you can see, the graphics pretty much look more or less the same as Gunvolt did in what we just played, but if you go back and like look at it on the 3DS and whatnot, I mean, it's smaller sprites too, so you're getting a much bigger area. You're getting more screen real estate at the end of the day playing it on Switch on a TV, you know? Granted, you know, the graphics look very much out of like a 16-bit game, but that's the glory of this game. I really like it. And the fact that they pulled this off a year later is pretty impressive. I didn't realize that they would actually make a sequel to this game. Oh, hello. And another thing with this game is the game does have a secret ending. Heads up for that. And if you want to get it, that's where challenges come into play. I think you need about like 50% for the 2 characters that are in Gunvolt 2. That moment right there is important to keep note of. We'll bump into that later. But let me jump right back into here. Boom. So, what we have here is the Muse's song, Reincarnation. Normally what happens is, if you die, like, I think it was like if you died a certain amount of times. Uh-oh, you guys might remember something like this, similar if you watched my Mighty Gunvolt Verse playthrough. But, this reincarnation gives us the ability to sort of fly around like Jewel. Gives us extra... I don't think it really gives us an extra boost in power, but it's made for us to sort of get through things a little bit easier. So if you tend to... At certain moments, it is scripted if you die at a certain boss battle, but I believe if you just die a certain amount of times, you end up getting reincarnation in one of your deaths. So you get like infinite flash field as well also. So we'll get to burn through these guys pretty quickly. So we're trying to bring down this ship. Yeah. So you can see we're boom. Our EP is unlimited right now, so we're wrecking shop right now. The other thing I meant to do was I wanted to do this special. I wanted to do Astrosphere. It's like one of the coolest basic moves here. Specials. Boom. Reincarnation, one of my favorite songs in this damn game. Alright, so we cleared it with Gunvolt. Now, the thing with this game is there are two characters. Gunvolt and Copen, who we're about to see right now. We're going to see his side of this beginning. This is sort of the longer intro to this game that you get, which I like. It sets up the story. The thing with the Gunvolt games is they do a really good job, and I'll give credit even to Mighty Gunvolt Versus. They do a very good job setting up the premise of what the plot of the game is. So, here we go. We're about to jump in as Copen now. Those fiends. He's out here, much like how we saw the beginning of Azure Striker 1, Gunvolt looking for the Muse to destroy them. Copen's actually looking for a girl named Midel. So he, like Gunvolt, has like his own group that he works for. However, the only thing is he does not like Gunvolt. He doesn't like Quill. He doesn't like Adepts. He very much hates them. Does not work for them. However, you see how he's got that privation skill as well. His suit is what gives him his powers. So I guess you can kind of say he's like an Iron Man-ish type person. And then there we go. This girl right here is, well, this thing right here, this robot. Nori, no, Nori's the chick, sorry. Boom. But she's the robot's gonna help us do some attacks that are very similar in a Gunvolt fashion. And boom. One of our big baddies of this game here. Big Schlong just whipped it out. He just whipped it out on us. And of course, Zonda is his name, or her name, because they're two. It's very strange to. It'll be explained by the end of this episode who Zonda is. And Draco's already cracking up because he knows from the playthrough we did before. Oh man. So here we go. Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for. So your L buttons are going to be your dash button, but with Copen, something cool is I can actually use my bullets down there, so I'm going to charge that up. So like Gunvolt, how Gunvolt has EP, Copen has those bullets down on the bottom. And with the bullets, I can kind of dash in like that and do extra attacks against my enemies and chain combos as well, which is pretty dope. So we're gonna dash through the stage a little bit more. Oh, hello. Yeah, Copen, I grew to like. I grew to like Copen. Woo. Hello. Yeah, he's a little weird to use at first because he's slower than Gunvolt, and I'm so used to dashing around with Copen. Oh, there we go. Some crazy stuff going on. So if you remember when we were playing as Gunvolt, there was there's some crazy stuff going on here. And we're gonna skip this spam. Should be coming up right now, right? No? Okay, it should be coming up shortly. There will be a moment that ties the two together, but this is happening exactly at the same time as Gunvolt. As Gunvolt being inside the Sumeragi airship. Here we go. Boom. So, we saw Gunvolt, the mech dropped down, and it came out over here. So yeah, this level is very much meant to show us the basics of the controls of the game, but of course, playing this game a million times already, I already kind of have this down. Alright, here we go, battle time, let's do this. This ends now. Oh, come on. Boom. Yay. And then here's where things start to get really crazy. And we'll skip around. But our two heroes will meet together. Just like any story, when you have two people that you like. Do I get an A? Yeah, I got an A. There is an S ranking here as well. And much like the first one, the same thing, when you finish a stage, you then get your whatever medals you got from the stage. You'll be able to pick up weapons from there. So now we're back with Gunvolt. Boom. So that girl is who Copen is looking for, and we just happen to found her. And it seems like finding girls is our thing. Alright, so that ship is coming down now. Boom. Again, I skipped that with reason. Normally I don't skip around on these Nintendo Spotlights, but this is a game I feel like everyone should experience, especially when the game comes with the sequel that we're playing right now on top of the first one at the same time. So Jewel is giving Gunvolt some more power to kind of control that Sumeragi ship from going down. And Copen noticed, so Copen's giving a hand as well. And they were able to gently bring things down without destroying the city. Wait, Monster Hunter Stories comes out this Friday, huh? You goddamn right, Draco. You damn right. Boom. And apparently Copen and Gunvolt know each other. They don't explain that. I don't know if there was an anime that happened that that's on the 3DS. I don't know if it's available outside of that. Maybe YouTube. But maybe that explains how they know each other, but they don't really go into explanation at all about that. They just know, you just know Copen hates Adepts and Gunvolt is like, I don't understand why you hate us. Boom. So Tenjun is one of our repeated baddies in this game, along with Zonda. Boom. Alright. So this is going to be a crucial moment here. Zonda just sent Homegirl into, like, a mirror state. Tianjin broke her into pieces. That's Jewel in a million different shards right now. And what happens is Jewel's powers fade away because of that. And that is Zonda's true form right there. So she's gone. She's trying to, Zonda's trying to create a paradise for all adepts. She's a little psycho though, so the way she's going about it is pretty crazy, which is why we're trying to stop her. Well, end up going to trying to being able to stop her. Sorry, that made no sense. But she wants to create a world. I think on Saturday I related to like Magneto with his island of mutants. She wants to create a place of Eden for all the adepts to flourish and run amok. And Tianjin is one of the many apostles that are trying to follow and complete her mission. So now, Gunvolt, after all this time, he could have done that at any moment, breaks out, and we're trying to stop Homie. Astrosphere is what I was trying to do earlier, but boom, there we go. Destroyed him, wrecked city right now. His bar was down at the lower right if you missed it. And usually there's 3 phases to an enemy. They break them into three quadrants. So every time you defeat a meter, they unleash a different power, so they have a different pattern. So it's not always easy to figure out like your enemy's pattern. And we're about to get to the end of this episode of Nintendo Spotlight shortly. And what we're learning here now is, boom, his Septima sucks. Be right back. Dinner, no worries, Draco. Alright, so Copen's coming in, stealing a shard. And he's got Midel as well, who's unconscious still. Meanwhile, what he doesn't realize is he's got a shard of Jewel. Don't know why he takes it, but you find out throughout the game, and you see what happens with that shard in general, but Jewel is still somewhat with Gunvolt. Boom. Oh, sorry. And that was supposed to be where I was supposed to end the game. So what I'll do is I'll restart it and then we'll end the episode. But guys, that is going to be the end of Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack as part of Nintendo Spotlight. I really want to do a full series of this game. I know I played Gunvolt 2 on the 3DS and did a full playthrough of it over on YouTube, but I would like to do a proper full one and get that secret ending that I never got. My 3DS that I was streaming with when we played that series was kaput at the end of the game, of that game. That was the series that my 3DS, my first capture card 3DS, went kaput. And of course the game was digital at the time, and I bought the Striker Pack and had planned on doing it on the 3DS again, the whole thing, but it was just, so many different games came out at the time, and I was like, it wasn't the right time to bring it back. I think what I'm gonna try to do is make a series at least of the first game when we're finished with Metroid Samus Returns and Mario plus Rabbids, which we're halfway through Mario plus Rabbids already as far as the story goes. We're at World 3, which we're actually going to start next if you guys are in the stream, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, so I think we could squeeze this in between the lull period of after we beat Samus Returns. We've got a few weeks before Fire Emblem Warriors comes out in the US, and then we also have the US version of Azure of Nights 2, as well as Mario Odyssey, which is going to go out with a bang with the year. And then we got Pokemon Ultra Sun afterwards. What? And of course, those will be full playthroughs, but we're talking about Nintendo Spotlight stuff here. This has been Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack. It's available on the US eShop for $39.99, so $10 more than if you were to buy the 3DS versions for $15 a piece. And I believe the Azure Striker Pack might even be a little bit cheaper. If you look around, you might be able to find a physical copy of that has the 2 games just like this for cheaper. A physical version will be coming out in the US, but it isn't out on time, unfortunately. I believe sometime in October is when the physical copy of this game will come out to the US, but it is available in Japan. It is a little bit more though, so be wary of that and import pricing and then shipping costs on top of that. It almost just might be worth it to either wait for the physical copy for Switch if that's what you're waiting for, or you can pick it up on the digital eShop as well. And if you guys enjoy what I do here, give it a like, share with your friends, and let them know what I do here. Play video games after work. This has been Nintendo Spotlight, and I will see you guys next time for another set of new games. Take care. Love y'all.